Since the dawn of time, battles have been fought. Some won, others not so fortunate. In the midst of tranquility, a battle of a different kind is raging. The Battle of the Minds.
Welcome to the Battlefield, a quiz show for the junior schools. My name is Geraldine Mandengenda, but y'all can call me GD. We are back again, and we are back with another one. So today in the building, I'm joined by two schools. Yes, they're going to be competing up against each other, and I don't know if they're ready for this one or not, but I'm just going to leave them to introduce themselves. So to my left, we have Ralph, Junior School. All right, and I understand that you guys prepared a war cry.
Yes.
Okay, so you can go ahead.
Ralph Jr. And it shall be a shelter unto men. Better. My name is Kunashi Kunzakwe Guta, grade 7 Leonard Ralph Junior School, here to smash Divaris Magaris.
My name is Tina Tendamafor, a grade 7 Leonard Ralph Junior School, here to shatter our competition.
My name is Shalom Garaba, a grade 6 learner at Ralph Junior School, here to wallop Divaris Makaharis.
Okay, all right, so there you have had it for yourselves. Ralph Junior School is ready. So to my right, I'm joined by Divaris Makaharis. Now, so can you just introduce yourself to the benefit of the viewers at home?
Divaris Makaharis.
Goals are dreams with deadlines.
My name is Anne Shoko and I'm a grade 6 at Divaris Makaharis. We are here to destroy Ralph Junior School.
My name is Chido Manoman. I am a grade 7 learner at Divaris Makaharis. We are here to disintegrate Ralph Junior School.
My name is Tiara Martinyenya. I'm a grade 7 learner at Divaris Makaharis School, and we are here to squash Ralph Junior School.
So for the viewers at home, all you have to do is just simply stay glued, okay? Right now, let's jump straight into the first session, and that is the English language. What is the antonym of sunrise? What is the antonym of sunrise? As usual, we have 60 seconds to present our answers and raise our boards. Okay, are we ready? Yes. All right, so we can both raise our boards to the camera, please. Okay, yes, and the correct answer that we're looking for this one is sunset, and both of our schools got it correct. So the second question for this session is, what is the antonym of hard working? Okay, 60 seconds. We can all raise our boards, please. All right, and the correct answer that we're looking for is lazy. Both schools got it correct, so a round of applause. All right, what is the synonym of shortage? What is the synonym of shortage? We have 60 seconds to write our answers down and present our answers. Are we all sure of our answers?
Yes.
All right, so we can raise our boards. Okay, so the correct answer that we're looking for is lack. Lack is the synonym of shortage. This one goes to Ralph Jr. and unfortunately, Divaris got it wrong. And the fourth question for this session is, what is the synonym of pollute? What is the synonym of pollute? Okay, you can raise your boards. All right, and the correct answer that we're looking for is contaminate. And it seems like both of our schools got it correct. Moving on to the fifth and final question for the English language session. What is the synonym for hum? What is the synonym for hum? All right. We have 60 seconds to deliberate on our answers and raise our boards. Divaris Makaharis, are you guys ready?
Yes.
And are you sure about your answer?
Yes.
Okay, so you can raise your boards. Okay, so the correct answer that we're looking for is Inja, and Ralph Jr. got it correct. And unfortunately, it seems like Devaris Makaharis didn't get it correct. This is the end of the English language session. The sixth question for the day in the science and technology session is, what is a fulcrum? Okay, that is the science and technology session. Okay, what is a fulcrum? So I'm just going to give you 30 more seconds to deliberate. Okay, because you need to come up with something. You need to come up with an answer. All right, our time is up. We can raise our boards now. All right, so the correct answer that we're looking for is a point at which a lever rotates. A point at which a lever rotates. Okay, something not done properly and a muscle. Unfortunately, both of the schools got it wrong. All right, so moving on, this is the second question for the science and technology round. And the question is, the center of an atom is called what? What is the center of an atom? What is it called? All right, so we have 60 seconds to answer this one. You guys have about 30 seconds. You need to make sure that you're good with your answer before you raise your boards, okay? All right, are we good with our answers? Yes. Okay, so we can both raise our answers, our boards to the camera. Okay, so the correct answer that we are looking for is nucleus. Nucleus is the center of an atom. Okay, so this one goes to Ralph Jr. And unfortunately, Devaris Makaharis didn't get this one correct. We'll move on to the third question of science and tech. And the question is, what is weather? How do you define weather? Just the definition of weather. And we're just looking for one correct definition of weather. You have about 45 seconds to write down your definitions and present them to the camera. All right. It seems like Ralph Jr. is done with their answer. And Devaris Makaharis, are you ready? We're waiting for you. 10 more seconds to go. All right. So are you guys ready with your answers? Yes. And can you please raise our boards? Okay, so can we have Devaris Makaharis defining your answer?
Weather is an atmosphere on how it feels outside or inside.
Okay, and can we have Ralph Jr.?
Weather is the state of the atmosphere at any given time.
Okay, all right, so the correct answer that we're looking for this one is a condition of the atmosphere of a place over a short period of time. So both of the schools got it correct, and well done. All right, so for now we're just going to take a short break. We'll be back right after this, and we'll be doing science and technology. So 2 more questions to go for this session. Take it away. So moving on right now, we're just going to finish the science and technology session before we move into the heritage studies. So the 9th question for this session is, what term is used to describe the movement of food through the digestive system? What do we call the term? We're just looking for the term, not a definition, but a term. You have about 60 seconds to present your answers. And we're just waiting on Devaris Makaharis, and we'll give them about 30 seconds to decide. Are you done? Okay, so the correct answer that we're looking for is peristalsis. Peristalsis is the term that is used to describe the movement of food through the digestive system. All right, and unfortunately, you got it wrong. Okay, both of the schools got it wrong. Okay. So moving on to our final question for this session is, the power we get from water is called what? What power do we get from water? What do we call the power that we get from water? And are we done? All right, can you both raise your boards? All right, so the correct answer that we're looking for is hydroelectricity. That is the term. That is the power that we get from water. It's hydroelectricity. And okay, let's see the other answer. Hydroelectrical power. Hydrolation power. So we're going to get a full mark for Ralph Jr. and half mark to Devaris Makaharis. And right now we'll move in to the heritage studies. How well do you know your heritage? Are you guys excited about this one? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Okay, so let's get right into the session. And the first question for this one is, the National Heroes Acre is designed in a rifle shape. Name the rifle. Name the rifle. Okay, are we ready? Yes. Okay, so can we all raise our boards? Okay, so the correct answer that we're looking for is AK-47, and this one, Ralph Jr. got it correct, and unfortunately, Devaris Makaris got it wrong. And moving on, we move on to the second question for the Heritage Studies session, and the question is, which landforms form the border between Zimbabwe and Zambia, as well as Zimbabwe and South Africa, respectively? Which landforms form the border between Zimbabwe and Zambia, as well as Zimbabwe and South Africa, respectively? So we're looking for about 2 correct answers for this question. The landforms that form the border between Zimbabwe and Zambia, as well as Zimbabwe and South Africa, respectively. So are we all ready with our answers? Yes. We can all raise our boards. The time is up. Okay. And the correct answers that we're looking for is Zambezi and Limpopo rivers, or Zambezi River and Limpopo River. Okay. All right, Zambezi River and Limpopo River. All right, so for this one, Ralph Jr. got it correct. And all right, so you guys get half a mark. Devaris Makaharis gets half a mark, and Ralph Jr. gets a full mark for that one. All right, so the third question for the heritage studies is, what is the national flower for Zimbabwe? What is the national flower for Zimbabwe? Obviously, we've got different types of flowers, but we're talking about the national one. Okay, so are we ready with our answers? Yes. All right, so we can all raise our boards, please. All right, so the correct answer that we're looking for is flame lily, and both of our schools got it correct. Okay, that's good. All right, so give it up for them. Audience, are we still there? Okay, so thank you for that one. And the fourth question for this one is, who was Zimbabwe's first prime minister? Who was Zimbabwe's first ever prime minister? Okay, we have about 60 seconds before we raise our boards. Zimbabwe's first prime minister. Okay, it seems like Ralph Jr. is done with their answer. Please learn to cover up your answers before you raise your boards. And we're just going to wait on Devaris Makaharis. We'll give you about 30 seconds. Okay, are we done? All right, we can raise our boards now. Okay, so the correct answer that we're looking for is the late Robert Mugabe. That's the correct answer that we're looking for. Okay, so moving on to another session, to actually the last question for the heritage studies session is, when do Christians celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus? Okay, so when do we call that time that Christians celebrate the death and resurrection of Jesus? Okay, it seems like Ralph Jr. is done with their answer. Are we done, Devaris? Okay, so we can all raise our boards, please. Okay, so the correct answer that we're looking for is indeed Esther, and both of the schools got it correct. Okay, so that is the last question for the Heritage Studies session. Right now, we're moving in to the mathematics session. All right, so the first question for the mathematics session is, what is perimeter? What is the definition of perimeter? Can you define what perimeter is? Okay. We have about 60 seconds to write down the definition of what a perimeter is. And if you're at home, you could just shout an answer, from the comfort of your couch. And yes, are we ready? All right, so the correct answer that we're looking for, you guys can raise your boards, is the distance right around the shape. And it seems like both of our schools got it correct. Okay, we'll move on to the second question for the session. And the question is, two-dimensional shapes must comprise two features, namely what and what? Two-dimensional shapes must comprise two features, namely what and what? Namely dash and dish. What do we call them? Two-dimensional shapes. Right, so basically we're looking for two features, so yes. Are we done, and are we sure with our answer? You're not sure? All right, so you guys have 30 more seconds to go. All right, if you're done, you can raise your boards. Both of us can raise our boards. All right, so the correct answers that we're looking for is base and height, width and length. So Ralph Jr., you get the full marks, and unfortunately, Devaris Harris, so you get half a mark there. So that was the second question for the mathematics session, and we still have 3 more questions up until we round up the mathematics session. But right about now, we're just going to take a short break. The third question for the mathematics session is, what is a result of adding? A result of adding several quantities together and dividing the total by the number of quantities is called what? 60 seconds to deliberate on your answers. Seems like Ralph Jr. is already written down their answer. Is that your final answer, and are you sure with it? Yes. Okay. And we're just going to wait on Devaris Harris, and we'll give them 30 more seconds. Are you guys sure and ready? Yes. Okay. So we can all raise our boards once we are done. Okay. So yes, the correct answer that we're looking for is average. A result of adding several quantities together and dividing the total by the number of quantities is called average, and both of the schools got them correct. All right, so moving on right now, the fourth question for the mathematics session is, how many lines of symmetry does a circle have? How many lines of symmetry does a circle have? Yes, we're just looking for one correct answer. All right, so Ralph Jr., are you ready with your answer? Yes. Okay, and Devaris Harris? All right, so your time is up. You can raise your boards. Okay, so the correct answer that we're looking for is infinite. Okay, and both of the schools got it wrong. Unfortunately, the correct answer that we're looking for is infinite. And the last question for the mathematics session is, how many right angles are there in a complete rotation? How many right angles are there in a complete rotation? So you have about 60 seconds to deliberate on your answer. So are we ready? Yeah. Okay, we can raise our boards. All right, so the correct answer that we're looking for is 4. 4 right angles are in a complete rotation, and both of the schools got it correct. So yeah, a round of applause, please. Okay, so moving on right now, we are jumping straight into the agriculture session. What is a season? That is the first question for this session. What is a season? Can you define what a season is? Definition of a season. Yeah. Seasons come and seasons go. We have different seasons. It can get cold, autumn, winter, summer. We have favorite seasons, but we need the definition of what a season is. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to give you guys 30 more seconds to come up with your full definition of a season. And then after that, you can raise your boards. And when you're done, 20 more seconds to go. And Ralph Jr. is done defining their. Okay. Are we done?
Yes.
All right. So can you all raise your boards? And I'm just going to ask Devaris to define what you've written.
A season is the changing of the weather for a long period of time.
Okay. And Ralph Jr.?
The season is the time of the year with different temperatures and rainfall.
Okay. And the correct answer that we're looking for is a season is a time of the year when weather changes. Time of the year when weather changes. Okay. And it seems like both of the answers are correct, right? Okay, so 4 marks to both of the schools. Well done. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the second question on the agric session is identify 2 weather elements. Identify any 2 weather elements that you may know of. Seems like Ralph Jr. is done. 30 more seconds to go to Devaris Makaharis. Any 2 weather elements that you know of, at least 2. But obviously there are different types. We have more than 2. Okay. All right. So are we done? Yes. Okay. Can you all raise your boards, please? All right. So Ralph Jr., you wrote rainfall and temperature. And Devaris Makaharis, rainfall and the sun or heat. So they get a half mark for writing down rainfall, and you guys get a full mark. Okay, so moving on with our agriculture session. The third question is, give us uses or contribution of wind. Uses or contribution of wind. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys 35 more seconds to go before you raise your boards. Okay, we have about 20 more seconds to go before you guys can raise your boards. And please cover up your answers before you raise your boards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and our time is up. Can we please raise our boards? And the correct answer that we're looking for, or rather answers on some of the uses and contribution of wind, we have pollution and whining and cloud formation. And you guys wrote pollution. What else did you write? Fertilization of flowers and can dry clothes, polluting, distributing pollen, which is correct. So both of the answers are correct, and all of you guys get full marks for that one. And yeah, let's give it up for them. All right, so we have 2 more questions before we round off the agriculture session. And the 4th question is, wilting is caused by what? What usually causes wilting to occur? What causes wilting to occur? Okay, we have about 60 seconds. All right. All right. Okay, are we done?
Yes.
All right, so can we all raise our boards, please? Okay, so Ralph Jr. wrote too much heat, and Devaris Makaharis too much heat or too much water. And yeah, So we're only looking for lack of water or rainfall. You wrote too much heat and too much water. Unfortunately, both of them are wrong. All right, so Ralph Jr. gets a full mark for that one, and Devaris Harris gets a half a mark. So moving on, we're going to go to the last question on the agriculture session. And the question is, new leaves or shooting mark the start of what? New leaves. If we have new leaves or shooting shooting marks the start of what? Okay, you have about 45 seconds to finalize your answers. New leaves or shooting marks the start of what? Okay. All right. So are you all ready with your answers? Yes. All right. You can raise your boards now. Okay. So the correct answer that we're looking for is the spring season. Yes, definitely. It's the beginning of a new season, but which season are you guys talking about? So we were looking for the spring season, and you guys mentioned germination usually of what? The leaves, they are coming out, but when which season is starting, and that is the spring season. So unfortunately, both of your answers are wrong. Right now, we've come to the end of the agriculture session. We'll be back in a bit with the results for the whole competition. And I'm sure that you guys at home can't wait. Do follow us on all our social media platforms and tell us which schools you're rooting for. Audience, are we there? Are we there? Yes. Okay. All right. So we'll be back. So the results just came in, and I would like to say congratulations to Ralph Jr. coming in with 1 of 5 points. Yes, let's give it up for them. And coming in the second place, we have Devaris Harris with 65 points. Not so bad. All right, so congratulations once again to Ralph Jr. Thank you so much for making time for us. This is the Battlefield, and to follow us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are there. My name is Geraldine Mandengenda, but you can call me JT, and I'm signing out.
Since the dawn of time, battles have been fought. Some won, others not so fortunate. In the midst of tranquility, a battle of a different kind is raging. The battle of the minds.